Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. Glory to Jesus Christ.
Glory forever.
Forgiveness offered is not always accepted or passed on. The unforgiving servant in this New Testament version is this New Testament version of a narcissist, receiving extravagant mercy from his master and caring only for himself. He refuses the same to his fellow servants. Why ask forgiveness if I've done nothing wrong? The narcissist asks. For such a person, there are rarely second thoughts and no effective arguments. It is vain to argue with the fool who believes they are perfect in every way. The very idea of salvation or rebirth or transformation doesn't make any sense to them. Is it then the Heavenly Father who condemns the unforgiving? I don't think that's the case. The kingdom of heaven is marked by utter selflessness. Selfishness has no place there. So those who think more of themselves than others could not possibly bear to live there. It's like C.S. Lewis wrote in The Great Divorce. The doors of hell are locked from the inside. Hell's inhabitants are cast into the outer darkness, not by God, but by themselves. As it says in John's Gospel, they preferred the darkness to the light. Of course they do. Darkness hides their shame. The selfish person does not seek God out of love for God, but for what He can do for them. And if we love God only for what He can do for us, then it is not God we love, but ourselves. Theirs is a transactional Christianity, which I dare say is no Christianity at all. The words uttered by the three holy children before they entered the fiery furnace, quote, "We know that our God is able to deliver us, and even if He doesn't, we still will love Him," end quote, is the opposite of the transactional approach. As is this, precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of His saints. Narcissists, like the unforgiving servant in today's gospel reading, could never say either of those things and really mean it. Nor could they say and mean what Jesus said from the cross, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," or ascribe to any of our Lord's other teachings like turn the other cheek, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, go the second mile, and give, expecting nothing in return. Those teachings are foolishness in the transactional world. Why follow a God that does not deliver what we want? The whole of Christ's teaching opposes transactionalism. Mechthild of Magdeburg, you've never heard of her, I bet, a medieval author of The Flowing Light of the Godhead, a book, was a Catholic mystic and visionary, much like Julian of Norwich, who died somewhere around the year 1282. And like all mystics, she was controversial and influential. And she wrote this, quote, "The soul is made of love and must ever strive to return to love. Therefore, it can never find rest nor happiness in other things. It must lose itself in love. By its very nature, it must seek God, who is love." End quote. Love itself, although we are told otherwise, is not transactional. Love is above that. It loves for the sake of love alone. True love makes no demands and has no expectations. Love does not cling and is never jealous or fearful. There are two signs of an unhealthy and unbalanced relationship, I tell young people. And they are this: one, the fear of loss, and two, the desire to control. God's love transcends all this. Macfield could have written those words with today's gospel reading in mind. For anything that is not love is not of God. And if the search for love is not our reason for being, we must change direction. Love is the trailhead that leads to God. And love is our reason for being, the very ground of our existence. And were it not for the flowing light, love, and grace of the Godhead, we would not even exist. We and everything are sustained moment by moment by His love. When we say the Lord's Prayer, what do we think it means when we say the words, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven"? Does it mean that we want everything and everyone around us to change? That's not what it means. First of all, it is a call for us to change. Does it not really mean that we are asking God's help to help us live as if the kingdom really is in us and around us, like Jesus said? Like the kingdom is already here. After I converted to Orthodoxy, I made a trip back home through Tennessee and stopped at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville to see a good friend. I introduced him to St. Athanasius the Great's magnificent book on the Incarnation. He didn't like it. He read the first page and then handed the book back to me and said, "I don't agree with this." "With what?" I asked. "It says that God created and sustains even the devil in his existence." "Sure," I replied. "But if God didn't create him, who did? If God is not sustaining him, how does he exist?" Of course, I did not expect an answer, and I didn't get one. It was simply a bridge too far for him to accept that all things, all of them, are created and sustained and loved by God. Well, for sure, Orthodoxy has a very different worldview. And I like this quote. I forget where it comes from. It's this: if you can't see God everywhere, then you can't see God anywhere. I think that pretty much sums it up. Slowly but surely, our spiritual practice should lead us to selfless purity of heart and openness of heart. And that means the selfish narcissist in all of us must be transformed. Part of us has to die if we are ever to grow larger, and that is the part. Remember John 12:24, the verse about how a grain of wheat must fall into the earth and die before it can bear fruit? When our hearts, minds, souls, and senses are open, then we will know that the kingdom really is in us and around us. And we will see, as God sees, the beauty and sanctity of all that He has made. We will love because we are loved. We will forgive because we are forgiven. And we will expect nothing in return, for God has already granted us everything. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.